miały jeden kluczowy wątek, czyli jak...
Yesterday's coalition discussions had one key theme, which is how to practically ensure security for Ukraine and security for the region in the event of a possible achieving peace, or at least a ceasefire. And the key from our point of view is our joint decision that the first exercises, in which French and British troops will participate, exercises. Such maneuvers will take place in Poland this fall, and will be exercises that will prepare the entire coalition gathered today in Paris for such real security guarantees for Ukraine, but also for the region. After the recent speeches, including those of Russian President Putin, speeches full of threats, the latest attack on Kiev, it is clear that this escalation, which I have been talking about for a long time from Russia, is still possible. And that is why we have received with great satisfaction the final decision that Poland will host not only American soldiers, but also British and French. For now, these are exercises, but I announced yesterday to all the leaders that Poland will also be preparing logistically, and financially for the possibility of a permanent presence of not only American troops, but also our allied troops in Europe. As is known, Europe must take on greater responsibility for its security, and the key role of Poland is absolutely appreciated here. I must say with great satisfaction that our place not only in this coalition, but in Europe is truly very significant today.
Before the summit, the Ukrainians requested Patriot missiles. What will be the donation from Poland, if any?
We do not have abundant resources at the moment, as you know. You also noticed what a storm, completely unnecessary and honestly quite shocking, are our decision to transfer 5 Patriots in full agreement with NATO and the Americans, because we are acting together on this matter. These are not just some Polish ideas, but a joint NATO effort. Currently, we do not foresee this type of donation. As I was talking about it in quite detail with the NATO Secretary General, also for a longer moment with President Zelensky, at the moment it seems unlikely that in the near future, in any short-term perspective, a ceasefire will occur or the conclusion of peace due to the absolutely rigid stance of Russia and Putin. Everyone is expecting rather an escalation of actions from Russia at the moment, and it is quite probable that Russia will want to prolong this war at least until the winter. That's how it looks. That's how it looks. As you can see, we are preparing in all possible dimensions. This concerns our border and the drone coalition. It is known that what is happening in the air today is absolutely crucial.
We join all Russians in celebrating this successful operation. We sincerely congratulate and perhaps even thank our security officers for their efforts.
Yesterday, the United Kingdom and the European Union announced sanctions against Russia, accusing it of orchestrating cyberattacks aimed, in their view, at sowing chaos and discord across Europe. Among these alleged cyber assaults is the attack on the Polish power grid in December last year. How might the Kremlin respond to these new sanctions?
We do not accept these accusations. As you know, for many years now, Russia has been accused of things it has no involvement in. These allegations are always unfounded, they lack reason, and we are rarely provided with any evidence. As for sanctions, we have always considered them illegal. We've adapted to the tens of thousands of sanctions imposed on our country, learning how to circumvent them and minimize their negative impact. We will continue to do so. We do not recognize and categorically reject the imposition of sanctions against the messenger. We consider such actions to be utterly absurd and indicative of the repressive nature of those imposing them. I would remind you that Max is not the only messenger facing repressive measures in European countries. You know which other messaging service I am referring to. Therefore, the Europeans' approach is not genuinely democratic but rather repressive. We remain convinced that, despite these sanctions, our messenger will continue to develop rapidly and successfully.
German Chancellor Friedrich Merz stated on July 13th that Russia would not take part in developing security guarantee mechanisms for Ukraine, and that the specifics of how these guarantees would be formalized would be decided by Ukraine and its partners, not Moscow. Overall, would you like to know how the Kremlin assesses such statements and whether there are any diplomatic contacts with the EU regarding a peaceful resolution in Ukraine?
Thank you for this question. I believe it is the most important of all the questions raised today. Why? Because Chancellor Merz's statement demonstrates that the European position is dead-end. It is impossible to establish security guarantees without Russia's involvement. And if this is truly the Europeans' firm stance and they insist on it, then the prospect of European countries participating in any settlement process is entirely ruled out.